All right, episode 7 of the River City Cycling Podcast. Today was a little bit different because me and Nate did not have a chance to film a podcast, so I thought I would do a 2026 review of what I'm riding this year and why. It's a video that probably isn't going to be interesting to most people, but we'll start it off with my 2026 gravel bike. So I've talked about in earlier podcasts, the main thing that I care about with a gravel bike is big tire clearance. I think it's one of the most important things for gravel, at least in our area. If you're not able to run like a 55 plus tire on your bike, like Schwalbe Thunderbird, Continental Race King, I'm opting for the Schwalbe G1 RS Pro. It's not worth having, in my opinion. So starting off with my gravel bike, it is a 2026 Trek Checkpoint SL6. It is in the green colorway. It's got a little bit of splatter. It's probably one of my favorite looking bikes. I opted for the one-piece cockpit. This year I also went from a medium frame gravel bike down to a small. It fits me a little bit better, especially in like more of a race position. It gets my seat up a little bit above my bars. A little bit of mismatched parts, force crank with left-sided power. I don't care enough about gravel power to opt for the dual-sided. I get away just fine with the left-sided power. I do run mountain bike transmission. I am not strong enough to run the 13-speed Explorer for where we live. I would like to, a little bit lighter. The shifts are a little bit tighter, especially with like road sections and things like that. But maybe one day I'll get there. But 1052 rear cassette. Right now I'm running a 42 front chainring. That will change. I had that on there for Assault on Williams Hill. I will end up back with a 46 on the front. That way for like the road side of things, I'm not spinning out. Enve AR40s. These have been a pretty cool wheel for us this year. Instead of spending, almost $3,000 on the 4.5s, you can spend $1,400 retail on the AR40s. They're a little bit heavier, a little bit shallower, but they do have a 25 millimeter internal rim width, which is what is most important to me. Running the RSL seat post carbon Aeolus saddle. Gotta have the Trek frame bag on my checkpoint. Always have that thing stuffed full of something, whether it's coffee or ice, my phone, my wallet in there, or pump and like Dynaplugs in there, a little bit of nutrition. The bike does have frame storage. I don't even have the bag in there. I really think frame storage is kind of a gimmick. Maybe for certain people it's worth it. For me, not too worried about it. On this bike, I did leave the Rival E1 shifters on. I've said it in other podcasts before that I say ever since SRAM switched over to E1 on all of their models of shifting, there really just isn't enough of an upgrade for me to go to Red, which I'll eat some crow later in this video. But for gravel, I don't really care too much about the buttons to control my Garmin, so the Rival does just fine for me. Anything else? I'm switching back and forth between regular like mountain bike SPD or running SPD SL road stuff. Just kind of depends on what I'm doing. But that is really it for what's on the gravel bike. It probably is my favorite bike that I have. It's the one I ride the most. It's the one I commute to work on the most. It's the one I find myself just hopping on, enjoying, and just kind of cruising around. And then obviously ride it on gravel, race it on gravel. Absolutely love it. Some positives on it is it's not their flagship bike, so you're not having to pay like premium like for the Checkmate. Anybody's able to get in one of these, starting at $3,400 for the SL5 that comes with electronic shifting, and then you jump up to $4,200 for the SL6, $6,500 for the SL7 with force. But it's all the same platform, it's all the same frame, it's all the same fork. So you can get into these fairly inexpensive, compared to some of the higher end stuff, and you get all the goodies. You can upgrade to the one-piece cockpit. If you're worried about frame storage, you do get frame storage. You get the big mountain bike tire clearance. You get UDH, which on gravel I think is a big deal for me as well. So this is my gravel bike for 2026. All right, moving on to the mountain bike side of things. This is my 2025 Giant Anthem. It is a frame up build. It's not necessarily any one model or the other. This bike, so one I've had for quite a while. I went from this bike, I went to a Super Cal 9.9 with flight attendant. I had this bike previously with flight attendant. Awesome bike. It is like one of, in my opinion, the most like trail capable XC race bikes I've ever had. Yeah, I'm sure like the Epic 8 feels pretty similar, but this is a bike that like I can go out, I can race it, I can ride it hard. I can go to Glendale, I can hit big rock drops, I can hit rock walls with it. I can do some pretty fun stuff, and it doesn't ever feel like it's too much for it. So big fan of the Anthem. This is my third one, so very comfortable on the bike, kind of know how it's going to react. This one I've kind of started building out of not necessarily spare parts, but just parts that I had laying around because I'm kind of in between mountain bikes. I really want the new 2026 Anthem with the new horizontal shock, but right now that's not looking like that's going to be an option anytime soon. So I've started building this one back up to at least have a bike to ride / race for 2026. So full carbon frame. It is light. It is lighter frame than the Super Cal, so that's kind of a plus for it. Downside, only one bottle cage. But what I've opted to do, just have a SID Select SL in the front. So the 32 millimeter SID, if I build it over again, I'd put the 35 on it and make it a little bit more beefy. SID Lux rear shock. That is the ultimate. So that is a nicer rear shock. Feels really good. This is part of it that I've kind of thrown together. I just had some Eagle 90 cranks sitting in the bin, so I figured I'd throw those on there. It's probably the downfall to this bike if there was one. It's a heavy crank. It's a steel chainring. It's nothing fancy. Same in the back. This is a Eagle 90 rear cassette, which honestly, for me, I can't tell a difference between it and the XO or XX1. Maybe it's a little bit lighter weight. I am running the GX rear derailleur. I actually prefer this derailleur over all the derailleurs at the moment because the battery is much more tucked away. Even on my gravel bike, like I could have put XXSL on it if I wanted to, but I just like the GX derailleur. It's the one that's most recently updated, so that's what I'm going with. I did just put one-piece Giant SL trail bars on here instead of the XC bars. They bring it up just a little bit. They're a lot more flexy, not as stiff. I'm running the RockShox Reverb dropper post, which is actually like set up absolutely perfect for me. Motive bronze level brakes, which if you've ridden Motives, they're a lot already. As far as XC wise, there's no need to go up to anything stronger than that. It's more than you need. Probably my favorite thing on the bike right now, the new Bird wheels. These are the regular 30, just regular 30s. I have a set of Hawk 30 Golds on order that will cut these down from 1285 grams down to I think it's 1070 by the time you add tape and valves. But awesome wheel set. Probably my favorite thing that I've done to a mountain bike here as of recent. It is one of the most compliant rides that you'll ever feel on an XC mountain bike. I can't even put into words how it just takes the trail chatter out. You don't feel any of the small bumps. You don't feel any of the roots that you normally feel. The wheels literally take all that out. So, huge fan. I got the Hawk 30 Golds coming, so they will be on this bike shortly. And I think that about wraps it up for the mountain bike. I'm going to race this at the Glen Vegas Gambler this coming Saturday. It's going to be muddy. We're going to see how the Ricks do, which is, I guess that's the last thing I'll talk about. My favorite mountain bike tire so far. Definitely a favorite mountain bike tire of 2026. This thing is fast. It hasn't let me down yet as far as getting cut, even though it's an XC tire. I've had plenty of grip with it, and it's also just one of the faster rolling tires that I've had. So super pumped on this bike. Can't wait to ride it more and race it this weekend at the Glen Vegas Gambler. All right, this is my road bike for 2026. This is a now previous generation Giant Propel Advanced Pro. They just released a new one. Unfortunately, it's kind of like the Anthem. I can't get my hands on it. I would love to. I have had a lot of bikes in general over the past 12 years, but I probably had more road bikes than anything. At this point, I seem to be like running through 2 or 3 road bikes a year just because new things are coming out, new opportunities are coming up to take on different bikes. And I feel like for me and my job, the best thing I can do is get on them, ride them, show them off. I like to give my honest opinion of them, which sometimes doesn't work out maybe the best for the shop, but I feel like I build trust this way with customers. That being said, I've had pretty much every generation Madone since 2016. I've had Factor Ostrovams. I've had had this Giant Propel. What else? I'm missing a few, but regardless, I would have to say, all in all, it's a kind of a fight between this bike and the Factor Ostrovam for my favorite road bikes I've ever had. Now, the Factor Ostrovam, you're talking an $11,000 bike. It's high end. It's super awesome. It's super light. It rides super good. I could hop on that bike, race it. I could also hop on that bike and go ride a Century and have absolutely no problem. This one, obviously, on the lower end of the spectrum, you can get in an Anthem, you can get in a Propel for like $6K. Maybe not built up exactly like this one, but at least same frame and fork. But things I like about this bike, I'm not sure what it is about the bike. Originally, I thought maybe it was the wheels, but this bike is so fast, but also for an aero bike, super compliant. If Nate was here, I think he rode a Propel for a few years. I think he would back me up on this. There's something about this bike that is just has like one of the best ride feels of any bike I've had, especially aero bikes. It's not sluggish, it's still snappy, but it just feels like you're floating over things. I did go to a small frame on this bike as well for 2026, which I've been riding 52s now for a little bit, really enjoying that. Cockpit wise, just regular aluminum 100 mil stem, Zip SL70 aero bars. This is my crit bike, my race bike, so I didn't want to go super high end on this build because not that I have, knock on wood, I haven't crashed in any crits yet, but there's always that opportunity. I don't want to be spending money replacing force levers or red levers or anything like that. So opted for Rival E1 levers, which, as I mentioned before, just as good as anything else. I'll put it up against whatever. 165 millimeter crank arms, which, by the way, I run on everything, mountain bike, all the way to road bike to gravel. I just prefer 165s. So 165 dual-sided power meter, 52 tooth Alumagear chainring, and then in the back I did opt for the 1036 force cassette. I was going to go 1033, but if there's ever a crit with a hill in it, I don't want to be stuck with the 52 and only have a 33 in the back, so went with that. New Force E1 rear derailleur, which I was going to put Rival on here because I can't really tell much of a difference, but what I'm paying for them, it's not a whole lot of difference to go with Force, so I just did, but I would be perfectly happy if it was Rival. But yeah, super excited about this bike. I love riding this bike. Enve AR40s on this bike as well, just like my gravel bike, same exact wheel, so super versatile. I took off some 50 mil SLR1 giant wheels, which, like I said earlier, I kind of thought that was maybe what was giving this thing the ride feel, but it rides just as good on these. Maybe doesn't look as good because they're not as deep as the old wheels, but super pumped on how they feel in crosswind. I haven't, a Monday night ride, super flat, super fast. We're averaging 25 plus miles per hour for 25, 30 miles, and I'm not having any issues keeping up with the guys with deeper wheels. So this is my, I'm going to call it race bike for 2026, because I did just pick up a new road bike that I'll be spending like my solo days on, or days that, group ride days that I just want to get out there and ride my bike and not have to ride this one all the time and save it for racing. All right. So this is my brand new, just built it this morning, Enve Melee. And here's where I got to eat crow. I've said in a bunch of different, podcasts. I just said earlier that nobody needs red. All the new E1 stuff has gotten so good that there's just no point in having it. But this is where I'll eat the crow. It is not because I think red's better. It is not because I need red. It was strictly because I am impatient, and I had ordered this bike in a force build, but Enve did not have the force group sets in stock. It was not going to ship until late May. I'm impatient. I didn't need a bike at the moment, but they told me if I were to upgrade to the red group set, that they would ship immediately. So me not being a patient person, I was like, okay, just send me the red one, which fortunately I've got the opportunity to do. So I have not ridden this bike. I have no clue what it rides like, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's the best bike, but it is beautiful. I love looking at it. It is probably one of my favorite bikes I've ever had as far as like looks wise. I'm generally not a white bike fan because they are beautiful until you touch them. I will say I am running wax chains on everything now except my mountain bike, so a little less nervous about having to touch the chain if I ever need to, and then touching the bike. So I'm happy that it's only half white, so it's not going to be as big of a deal to keep clean as a full white bike. But SRAM Red E1, 165 crank arms, dual-sided power meter, Enve 4.5 SCS wheels, which is what this bike comes with. I'm trying to decide if I want to put the AR40s on this bike and put these on the race bike back on the Propel, just so it's a little bit deeper, maybe a little bit faster wheel. One thing I'm also curious about on this bike is it came with the Enve's SES road tire and a 29. It does measure to 30 on the 4.5s. The wheel and tire combo is running the 105 rule, so the wheel is a little bit wider than the tire. They test fast on bicycle rolling resistance, but we'll see how they feel as far as like grippiness and things like that. I am generally a Pirelli tire fan as far as road goes, but I am going to give these a shot. That is the one-piece 38 by 100 one-piece Enve cockpit, not the US-made one that's $1,200 plus. This is the one that's, I think, $750 and comes with the Garmin mount. Maybe it's just a little bit lighter, or the US one's a little bit lighter. I don't particularly care too much about this. This is my dog Oakley. He is just as pretty as the bike. But basically, he's checking it out too. He's not seen this one before. What do you think? So hopefully I'll have a review later on this. Because like I said, I have not even pedaled it around the parking lot or even sat on it. So I don't know how it's going to feel. Literally just pulled it out and built it and brought it home to film. It is my favorite saddle that I also had on the Factor, and then I had it on the Enve Fray that I had for a little bit. That's the Celitalia SLR Boost saddle with the Enve logo on it, but it fits me the best of any saddle I've ever had. But yeah, super pumped about this bike. I think it looks awesome. I hope it rides good. But hopefully I'll have a review on that a little bit later. All right, so one other segment that I wanted to hit, if I didn't do something else, this would be a pretty short podcast. So most of you that probably watch know that I work at Bike World. I've been there for 12 years. I love what I do. I have a great time at work every day. Get to sell awesome products, which is super cool. We get good, industry purchase discounts, which is why I'm able to have all these cool bikes and constantly rotate them around and let my friends, customers, teammates know what is good right now and, sometimes what to stay away from. But just want to do this so these are just questions that I get asked at the shop all the time. So just a little something else to talk about. Pretty much every day, get a customer who they're new to riding, or they've ridden for a little bit and they just want something different. And I get the question, if I could have one bike, what do I get? Well, if you're a cyclist, the answer is that's not possible. It's always N+1. You always need a new bike. But in all seriousness, that customer really does want, at the time, they just want one bike. They want one bike they can do anything that they want to do. What do they get? My answer would have used to have been to get a mountain bike. Mountain bikes are like tennis shoes, what I always said. You can wear your tennis shoes wherever you want. Just like you can ride a mountain bike, you can ride the mountain bike on the road, you can ride it on the gravel, you can ride it on the trail. So it may not be the most efficient thing, but it's what you should do. I still think that is mostly true. I still think for a lot of people that a mountain bike is going to be the most versatile option. It'll get you wherever you want to go. Gravel bikes, now that they've gotten bigger, more popular, more accessible, cheaper, that could definitely be an option for the person that is going to spend more time on the road than, say, mountain biking. So like if this customer they primarily say, I'm going to be on the road, some gravel trails, what do I get? I would probably point them towards a gravel bike. That way, if they want to hit a group ride, they can do that. They can still have fun on the road. They can still go fast. But if they do want to hit the gravel, it's made for that. If they do want to venture onto their local single track that doesn't have anything crazy, they're able to do that no problem. Whereas same thing, customer comes in and they tell me they want to mountain bike, but they live in town and they want to ride around. Okay, well, the obvious answer there, get a mountain bike. You can ride your single track, some easy single track on the gravel bike, but if you truly want to mountain bike, you're not going to ever have as much fun on that gravel bike as you would a mountain bike. So 50-50 gravel bike or mountain bike if you're just going to do one bike. However, you're going to fall in love with it, and that's just, you're going to get more bikes. Second question, SRAM or Shimano? I try to be unbiased on this podcast, even though sometimes it doesn't align with work. But this is one I have been called a shill for, but I'll ride it to my grave. SRAM, the sign up there, SRAM over Shimano in pretty much every way possible. Whether it is just road group sets, I think SRAM is innovative. Their ETAP stuff's fully wireless. It's super easy. Switchable batteries. If you were to get out there and your rear derailleur die, you can put your front derailleur battery in your rear and you can get home. You cannot do that with Shimano. All the way to customer service. Like, that's a big thing for me. And I know that doesn't really matter too much to the consumers, but it does when they have an issue with their Shimano product and I can't get in touch with Shimano for a few weeks. SRAM, I can call dealer number, I can be on the phone with a tech in 10 seconds. So super awesome, based out of Indianapolis. I'm not going to really give Shimano any bones here. They haven't done anything that's impressed me. Their customer service has been terrible for me. So definitely SRAM all the way. Used to, maybe I would prefer Shimano brakes over SRAM, but these days SRAM has figured that out. They figured out all their quirks, and I am even a SRAM brake guy on the mountain bike, as well as, I just prefer their feel with the new E1 stuff on the road. So SRAM all the way. Personally, don't even look at Shimano bikes. However, SRAM or Shimano does a better job on the entry level bikes, like with the new Shimano Q stuff. So if you're a person that's wanting an entry level budget road bike, you're not really going to have the option for SRAM. And Shimano Q stuff is just fine. Like there's nothing wrong with it. Another question I get is, why do I want electronic shifting? Like, people, especially older people, come in there like, I use my bike to get away from things. I don't want to worry about charging it. I don't want to worry about getting out there and it running dead. Well, there's a few things that I guess there's misconceptions with. It doesn't just die like when you're out there on the ride. Like this new stuff, you're getting, anywhere between 400 and 800 miles, depending on, how much shifting you're doing. So it's kind of on you if it goes dead. Like, especially if you're running a Garmin head unit or a Wahoo or a Hammerhead, they will all tell you when your stuff's getting low. So it's not like it just goes dead without warning. Big thing, especially now with, everything being internally routed and a little bit tougher to get to. There is no more replacing cable and housing. That's gone. It's the new stuff shifts like a light switch every time you do it. The only thing you have to worry about is chain wear, occasionally a bent hanger, but there's so much less to go wrong with electronic shifting over your typical cable shifting, which is kind of crazy to think about because you're dealing with electronics versus, cable stuff that we've had forever. There's some caveats, like if you're bike packing, yeah, I get it. You don't want electronic shifting. You want your cable stuff. That way you can fix it on the road. You can take it to any bike shop. They can help you out. So a lot of pros to electronic shifting, not a lot of cons other than price. It is coming down. With SRAM, you can get electronic shifting all the way down to Apex. Shimano, you can get it all the way down to 105. So it's getting more affordable. You're seeing it on a lot more bikes. I think here in the next 3 or 4 years, it's pretty much going to come on every bike, whether it's entry level or high end. So if you're a E-Shift hater, go ahead and get over it. That's coming on all bikes. Another question is, what's the biggest upgrade I can do to my bike? 6 months ago, I would have told you the biggest upgrade you can do to your road bike or your mountain bike is to upgrade the wheels. Most time people are coming in and they want to upgrade their bike. They already don't have carbon wheels. They've got aluminum wheels on there. Same with the mountain bike. So if my go-to was like, well, if you want the best bang for the buck, don't even worry about upgrading your frame. If it's not carbon, put a nice set of wheels on there. I still think that wheels are a big upgrade. But do I think it's the best bang for your buck for an upgrade? Not anymore. I think the best thing you can do to upgrade your current bike, especially if it has the ability to go tubeless, I think that is the biggest thing right now. Other than that, if you can't do tubeless, if you could just go to a more supple, faster tire, that's going to be a huge difference. Like say Damani is going to come with R2 Bontrager tires. If you were to put a set of like 30 millimeter Pirellis on there, that's going to be a huge upgrade. If you were to put a set of 30 millimeter GP5000s, that's also going to be a big upgrade. Way cheaper than a set of carbon wheels, but if you were to pair that with also tubeless, if you're not afraid of that, then that's going to be the single biggest upgrade you can do to your bike and one of the lesser expensive upgrades you can do to your bike, and you will notice. That leads me into the question of, should I run tubeless? And it depends. If you are not comfortable working on your own bike, if you are not comfortable under what could be a stressful situation, then I say no, don't run tubeless. If you want some of the best riding characteristics out there, I say yes, run tubeless, but you've got to be ready for the time of, and you got to be prepared. Like, just like a tube, if you were to go out there and you were to run over something, piece of glass, nail, you still, if you're running tubes, you would still have to replace that tube. So it's not, tubeless gets a bad rap because, well, now what do I do? Well, worst case scenario, you put a tube in it. Same thing you were going to do if you had gotten a flat with your tubed tire. However, things have come along now, like Dynaplugs, that make it super easy. When you cut that tire, you don't even have to, like I've had flats where, I start to feel like my tire's getting soft, literally hop off the bike, plug it with a Dynaplug, and if I caught it quick enough, I don't even have to add air. So tubeless, big thing for me. Won't go away from it. It had its flaws earlier, but at this point, it is super easy. If you are any bit mechanically inclined, you will benefit from tubeless. It can be as simple as you run over something, hop off, put a plug in it, takes 10 seconds, and maybe hit it with some air, some CO2, or your mini pump that everybody has now. Whereas a tube, you cut that, you're calling someone if you don't have a spare tube, or you're replacing the tube, and that takes 4 or 5, 10 minutes, depending on how good you are at changing that. So once again, tubeless, you're back on the road super quick, super easy. Worst case scenario, put a tube in it. Same thing you were going to do if you were running tubes. The last one that I get very often is, will I have fun, or is this Marlin enough? This Trek Marlin. And I get this a lot because people are coming in, not a lot of our business isn't high end builds. I wish it was. But a lot of times we're dealing with new customers who have never had a bike before. They've never been mountain biking, and they want to get a mountain bike and they want to go hit the trails. First thing they gravitate towards, I don't want to spend more than, $800. So that puts them, Trek Marlin, Giant Talon, and they, you're talking to them about it, and in your head, like, I know, like, this is not going to be the most fun thing in the world for them, just because I've done it before. I know that full suspension, I know that there are things that just aren't as fun on that Marlin as it would be a nicer bike. But also, I started off with the Marlin 2. I learned my lesson. So the answer is, yeah, that Marlin is enough of a bike to let you know if you are going to like mountain biking or if you're not going to like mountain biking. They hold their value pretty decent. So if you were to spend $800 on a Marlin and you go out there and you ride the canal loop and you're like, you know what, I just don't like this, I don't see myself getting into it, then you're not going to lose a ton of money, getting rid of that. But for most people, myself included, back in 2014, I bought a Marlin. It was the first bike I had that wasn't a piece of junk. So when I went out to the canal loop, yes, I was out of shape. Yes, it beat me to death, but my bike didn't break. And that's like the main thing. Like, my bike stayed together. I wasn't walking out of the woods. So in a way, yes, the Trek Marlin, awesome stepping stone. It's an awesome bike for the price. Are you going to want to upgrade that as soon as possible if you like it? Yeah. But at that point, you can either sell the bike or you can start upgrading it. Some of my favorite products that I sell at the store, I'm a huge fan of Pirelli road tires. I think GP5000s are just as good. Right now we're struggling to get GP5000s, and I have no problem at all getting Pirelli road tires. I would say on a group ride, 75% of the fast groups on Pirellis, which is awesome. Not that they're any better than a GP, but when 75% of your group, when 75% of your riders are on Pirellis, they're obviously going to get more flats than the GP5000s that the other 25% of people are on. So it's kind of a running joke that Pirellis get more flats, but it's because if you got 10 bikes, 7 of them have Pirellis on them, 3 of them have GP5000s. So yes, you are going to get more flats on the Pirellis. But big fan. They are really good to us. Schwalbe mountain bike tires. So this is also in the gravel category. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's always been like this and we just didn't know, or if it is a new thing with a new compound with Schwalbe tires. But Schwalbe has a chokehold right now, at least for us on the mountain bike market, whether it's a Thunderbird for your gravel bike or a Rick XC for your mountain bike. Awesome tires. I'd say the downside to a Thunderbird is, it's not going to last all season, but what race tire is. The Rick XC, I've got quite a few rides on it now. Super fast tire. Haven't cut it. I haven't had to walk out of the woods. I know Schwalbe's got some like radial tires for like the trail and downhill stuff that I haven't got a chance to run because I don't ride that kind of stuff most of the time. But see awesome reviews. So Schwalbe tires, especially on the mountain bike, they are top notch. I'm hoping to try some of their road stuff here soon, but it'll take quite a bit to knock me off of Pirelli tires. Orange Seal. We primarily sell Orange Seal. We used to do Stans and Orange Seal. Orange Seal seems to plug way better than Stans. I know at one point in time there was an accusation that Stans had ammonia in there, so it was, if it were to get underneath your rim tape, which it shouldn't anyway, but if it were, it would start to corrode your spoke nipples and you start breaking spokes. And I have seen that. Do I know if it was Stans sealant that caused it? Who knows? You shouldn't be getting sealant under your rim tape regardless. And if that happens, you need new rim tape. So we decided on Orange Seal. It's easy for us if we just have one product on the shelf. That way there's no hard decisions. We have had no issues with it. We love it. Another one that's kind of new to us, and it's kind of funny too because we kind of call it like the handbag of accessories. Like you got your Gucci purse or Louis Vuitton, is Enve wheels. I love Enve wheels. They look cool. They make you feel awesome when you're riding your bike and you look down and you see the white logo just going around. So up until about a month ago, it was a little bit tough to push them because your option was the SES series, which $2,800 for a wheel set is a lot for the average person. So they were cool, but not really affordable for everybody. The new AR40, which I'm running on my gravel bike and my race bike that we talked about earlier, $1,400 retail, $1,500 and some change on the grams, so not much heavier than your 4.5. Maybe a little bit. It is a little bit shallower, but awesome wheel set for the money. Would recommend them to anyone, whether you're racing or riding, just casually. It's an awesome wheel set. It will make you feel better. That's just how it is. Giant carbon bikes. So Giant, we're struggling to get some of their bikes in right now, which is really unfortunate. But for the person that is a little bit nervous about carbon, or the racer, whether you race, once a week, once a month, as far as I know, everybody in the industry has a lifetime warranty on their carbon frame. That is manufacturer defect. It is kind of tough to convince most manufacturers that it was their fault that the carbon frame broke. They do not cover anything, crash-wise. Like if you were to crash your bike and crack it, Trek is, they'll offer you a loyalty discount, but it's, that was your fault. It's not their fault that you crashed the bike. Giant has a 2-year no matter what warranty. So like if you're a racer, like you want to get into crits and you want a carbon bike, or you're just scared of carbon bikes, if you get a Giant bike for 2 years, no matter what, you're covered. So if you were to go out there to that, your crit race and you were to go down and, crack your frame, Giant, you literally go to your retailer the next day, show them the bike, they'll take a picture, they'll send it to Giant, and I've done this multiple times. No questions asked, there's a frame on the way for 2 years. Now that 2 years does run out. You can't just warranty one frame, that year and then you have 2 years restarting. It's 2 years from the original purchase. So if you're looking to get into crit racing and you want a carbon bike, get a Giant. You can't go wrong. They will cover it. You don't have to worry about it. So that is awesome. That's on their wheels, their handlebars, their stem, anything carbon from Giant, 2 years, no matter what. Ride it, race it, love it. That's their thing. Another product that I love that's made tubeless just that much easier is Dynaplug. So Dynaplug, they're kind of expensive. They're 40 to 80 bucks depending on which one you go with. But when you're out there and you're riding your tubeless bike, and most of the time when you run over something and cut it, you don't even know it. It seals it. But there is a couple times that you run over something that's just a little bit too big, and it's just this little bitty contraption that you keep in your jersey pocket, your frame storage, wherever you're going to keep it, your frame bag. But it literally, you just hop off the bike, find where the sealant's coming out, you stab it, and 90% of the time, it's perfect. And you just leave the little tail, you ride it, it mashes down. I get it. There's big cuts out there that, may take 2 or 3 of them, or, maybe you're better off with a bacon strip. I personally don't have much luck with bacon strips. Some guys on the team do have luck with bacon strips. I prefer the Dynaplug. It's quick, easy, makes tubeless a breeze for 90% of people. And then the last thing is, like I said earlier, SRAM anything. SRAM, I went up there not long ago, got to tour the factory. I'm a fanboy for SRAM. They do everything right. Whether it's, I haven't talked about it, but Zip wheels. I love Zip wheels. I think they have one of the best gravel wheels out there. Enve has helped out our race team, so I'm going to run some Enve products this year. But as far as SRAM, anything else, if you have a SRAM part and something's wrong with it, your SRAM dealer, which should be every bike shop, can take care of you. Whether they do is a different story, or whether they don't, it's a different story. But you can have a SRAM tech on the phone at 10 seconds anytime they're open. So if there's ever a question about your SRAM product, any good bike shop should be able to help you out. But those are a lot of the questions I deal with every day, and then some of my favorite products that I sell. Like I said, I kind of get to do what I love every day. I get to play with bikes. I get to ride the coolest, nicest, newest stuff. I get to test it out. So super happy with that. And that's all I got. Thanks for listening.